All right, welcome everybody to the latest Live Motocross podcast. As I'm joined by the great man, former star racer Jackson Richardson, who keeps bringing the heat on the socials as we chat all things San Diego after the second round of Supercross. Obviously, before we get cracking, we'd like to thank the sponsors in Fly Racing, 24MX, Dirt Store, Fuchs Hilcoline, and Dragon Energy for all their incredible support, as without them, none would be possible. Also, big thanks to the fans for tuning into these and commenting and liking and all that stuff. It's greatly appreciated, and yeah, it helps us keep running too. So, g'day, Jats. How are you, mate? Welcome you to the show. Another busy week for you up on the tools there in Cairns, mate, slogging away. But A2 is going to be pretty epic, and San Diego was pretty wild as well, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, yeah, we've been hard at it this week. It's been a big week, but looking forward to the weekend. Long weekend this weekend, which is always nice. And yeah, got a heater lined up for A2. So yeah, just can't wait. I got one more day just to get through, and then yeah, it'll just be all hands on deck getting ready for A2.
Oh, it's going to be good, mate. And I guess good place to start. A bit of a San Diego sort of debrief. What were the sort of the keys from you there? Obviously, mate, Shimoda, that was just tragic what happened to him. And Ben Griffiths, the mechanic, who's a legend as well, mate. Just, yeah, shock and luck for him after winning the opener. Deegan's having a bit of an off run. Juju was on it. And then obviously the Tomac and Jet Lawrence battle was just nothing short of epic. So a little bit of a debrief from San Diego, mate. Your take on it?
Yeah. Oh man, awesome weekend. Like yeah, lot of ups and downs for a lot of guys, and like the racing was good all around. Both main events were awesome. Like that's almost as good as a night that you could ask for in terms of like of a race. Like both races were good and like went down to the wire for the most part. Like especially the 450, man, that was an absolute heater. So yeah, no, like it was almost like roles were reversed from A1 in terms of like guys that won didn't have the greatest weekend, and then guys who we thought were going to take a little bit to get going, all of a sudden are back in the mix. So yeah, no, a few shocks all around, but it's good. This is why we watch it. So yeah, just excited to get stuck in after a solid weekend.
Yeah, mate, it was interesting. Obviously, you had Tomac in the first round wash out early, and then Sexton did the same. And obviously, Lawrence had his rough night as well. So we get all three battling. That's what we're hoping for. It's going to be absolutely epic. And I guess you've got the odds there, mate. Jet Lawrence has shortened off into 250. Tomac's pushed out to 433 from $4. So there's a lot of juice there too, mate. And Sexton at $5 is pretty strong too. So what's your eye on to start with?
Oh man, well, yeah, like especially like the odds are definitely evening out now by the looks of it compared to like the first round. They were all over the place. I mean, I got to go back to the Mookie being at 201 to 1, and it's like they'd never seen the bloke ride before. And like even like the second round, there was like guys, Barsha's coming in at 101 to 1, and like yeah, guys that are race winners and like have had podiums from last year were just had these crazy odds stacked against them. But yeah, no, it's looking good. Like Jet favorite again, obviously 250 like that. That is definitely a better price for myself. Like that's a price that I'll look at and throw. You know what? A pineapple is definitely going on this one. I think that's going to be my lock of the weekend, really. But yeah, no, it's good. Like it's evening out. Like there was a lot of like especially the results from A1 compared to San Diego. I mean, there was a lot of there was a lot of parity going on. I mean, we seen Sexton absolutely dominate the first round, and then he has his troubles on lap one, gets a bad start. Almost the thing that we didn't see, but I have seen a bit of footage on, he almost gets landed on when he doubled the triple, and Ferrandis jumped the triple, landed just beside him, had to take evasive action and go off track. So that was crisis averted on that one. And then 2 corners later, he puts it on the ground, collects his teammate as well. AP ran into the back of him too. So it was like just from the high of highs at A1 to just being on the ground on lap one at San Diego. But yeah, he fought back and like minimized the damage really. And yeah, especially with Tomac and Jet not having the greatest first round, like they had their issues there. But now, like Tomac coming out of it with a 1 point lead, I mean, the first half of that main that Tomac put together was unreal. And like, especially with the way he passed Jet around the outside in that stand section, that it was just pure vintage Tomac in that one. It was absolutely insane. And then made his way to the front. Like at the start, like when he passed Jet, he dropped Jet, like left him, caught up to Kenny and Coop, like stayed behind them for a little bit, but eventually got past him. And then probably the most surprising thing for me was just the resilience that Jet showed at the end of the race. I mean, with the way Tomac passed him and dropped him, I thought, man, that must be a shock to him. But then, you know what? Couple laps to go, he's right on Tomac. When I thought Tomac was going to walk away with it, Jet got right onto the back of him, almost could have put a move on a couple of times in certain spots. And then at one point, Vince Freezy nearly reared his ugly head and got in the mix there at the end. But they dodged that bullet, and then it was just an awesome back and forth at the finish. So it was an awesome race, and then Tomac definitely showed like this isn't going to be the typical farewell tour. He wants to go out on top, and Jet absolutely rebounding a complete 180. Looked all out of sorts at A1. They've been obviously vocal about not being too happy with the bike. And then, just completely rebounding and coming out with a second at A2. Immediately right back in the mix, like from a points perspective. So and the points is tight. I mean, like it's super tight at the top there, which is just awesome to see. So it's shaping up to be a hell of a season.
Yeah, mate, it's looking really good. That Jet bounce back was pretty impressive for sure. And the vibes and the attitude should be just carrying over into A2 for sure, mate. I guess he silenced some doubters too. He made a lot of progress, obviously, him and the team and his brother during the week, and that hard work paid off getting the bike in a much better window where he could be comfortable and, match Tomac for speed essentially, which is no mean feat. So I guess it's a scary thing that he's probably got a lot of scope for improvement too, doesn't he, mate? So should bode well for him as the series progresses and he gets more comfortable. And Dazzy and Lars, the mechanics and everyone, all the technicians are doing everything in their power, mate. So get the starts dialed fully, consistency like they did last year. It's pretty frightening, I guess, for some ways, for the others, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. A lot of the guys probably thought they would have had him on the ropes after the first round, just with the way like both of the Lawrence brothers performed, and like just with like hearing like stuff about how they're not happy with the bike and they're not quite as comfortable on it as what they would like to be, and just with the way they performed at round one, and then not only Jet rebounding coming out with a P2, but Hunter as well being under the weather. There was almost talk he might have like even sat out. Like apparently he just wasn't feeling well at all. And after the weekend, a lot of guys have come out and said that they're under the weather at the moment. A lot of the guys are battling the flu. So just with Hunter, like with what he was facing on the weekend, being ill and coming out with a P5, like that was just unreal. Like just in the span of a week, like they've made a massive jump. So the boys will be worrying a few people now, like making a massive jump from round 1 to 2, and then they're just going to get better. And then Hunter's obviously going to get back to 100% at some point, and then he'll be right there in the mix, like battling for podiums consistently, and putting his name in there.
Yeah, it's going to be good, mate. Obviously, as you go down there, Hunter Lawrence is at 21, Roxon's at 21, and there is a bit of a hint, a suggestion there could be rain, mate. So I'm liking a bit of Justin Barsha at 61 and AP at 61. Might be worth a few dollars there too.
Oh, yeah. If there is talk of rain coming in, 2 wet weather guys who I would definitely be throwing some money on would definitely be Justin Barsha and AP. Like those boys, as soon as the rains start coming down, those boys get excited. So like it'll be interesting. And then especially like with the way A1 was this year, was like some years it gets a little bit ruddy and soft than what it normally does. I dare say that's from like if it's like a little wet leading into it, and then the way they build the track, like with the condition that the dirt's in, it sort of ruts up a bit. But like last weekend, it oh well, at the first round, it didn't get as ruddy as what it normally would, like from what I've seen in years past, and it was real slick too. I mean, like we seen it claim Tomac before, so yeah. So yeah, if it's like that and a bit of rain starts coming down, also Kenny will be a huge threat in those sort of conditions, like especially on a track that's super slick and you got to be patient, have that throttle control. Like he's one of the best at it. So yeah, Kenny will definitely get in the mix as well with that one. But yeah, it'll be interesting, especially if the heavens open up during the night.
Yeah, and your old mate Mookie's on there at 81. Ferrandis is at 81. Justin Cooper 81. Prado 81. Justin Hill and Colt Nichols a bit of slander at 101 each. And then listen to this one, mate. Benny Bloss is at 126. That's alongside Politelli, Kopp, and Nagy. So not a lot of respect for Benny Bloss there, is there?
No respect being shown whatsoever. I mean, you got to definitely use these odds at some point, and you got to just look at that as motivation and then go, oh, that's what these boys think of me, eh? 126 to 1. That's just an absolute roughie that you might throw $2 on and then just hope to God it comes off. And then especially if it rains, that just evens the playing field out at all. And like Benny Bloss being a big guy, if it's raining, I might even chuck some on him to get up there because, just big fellas in the wet. They just go together like peanut butter and jam.
Yeah, mate. He's obviously, Vince Freeze at 101 as well. So Bloss is definitely, not really getting much going there, mate. He might shorten off with the rain coming. Who knows?
How about the absolute blowout that Vince gave to Benny Bloss in the heat race? That was just next. That is next. So, I mean, we've all seen Vince do this over the years, but I was like, he hasn't lost his touch. Just absolutely blew him out. Like 6'5", Vinny's probably at the best part of 5'10", 5'11". Just taking down a 6-foot behemoth. 6'5" behemoth, actually. And I'm just like, man, this guy just doesn't give a fuck at all. And then they were getting close in the main. I know Bloss was coming up on him, and I was just like, I was actually keeping an eye on the background, like in the races. I was like, I got to see if Benny Bloss gets him here. But he didn't get to him by the end of the race. So, man, just chaos everywhere.
Yeah, Vince is a gift that keeps on giving in a bad way for a lot of these blokes, isn't he?
Yeah, well, I think they haven't got too much to worry about this weekend. The boys will be breathing a little easier because they got the Arena Cross in Guthrie this weekend. So I'll be keeping tabs on that. So Vinny will be not in the same zip code as the boys. so the boys can breathe a little easier this weekend.
Oh, mate, that'll be box office too. I'm sure you'll be on double duties.
Oh, yeah, I'll be going. I'm going to have to be running, I might have to run 3 TVs this weekend. I had the 2 set up on the weekend because I had the NFL playoffs going on, and then I had Supercross on the other one. But I'm thinking, man, I might have to run triple screens here.
Mate, you're
I got a sore neck just from looking up, down, side, back. Yeah, I might be in a foam neck brace by Monday.
Oh, mate, yeah, no, it's going to be a big weekend of action, that's for sure. And looking at some of these head-to-head odds, you got AP to beat Justin Cooper, $1.71 versus $2. I don't mind Sexton at $1.66 to beat Webb, who's at $2.10 if he's still a little bit under the weather, and the form Sexton and the speed he's showing, that's quite good. Obviously, Tomac versus Lawrence is $2.10 versus $1.66. And I think Anderson, if he heals up, $1.66 versus Barsha at $2.10, that's pretty decent as well. Multi-bet then.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. I'm just pulling those ones up right now because I haven't had a look at the head-to-head bets yet. But yeah, those are some solid head-to-head matchups. And especially with what we've been hearing. I mean, Hunter Lawrence as well to beat Ken Roxon head to head, like Hunter paying $2. That's a spicy one right there. Just with what Hunter was showing on the weekend, like being under the weather, and we know if he gets healthy, starts getting a few starts, especially if he starts ahead of Ken Roxon, that could very well be a bet. But the one to look for, to me, is Jason Anderson, Justin Barsha paying $2.10. especially with like Anderson being under the weather and all that, not being at 100%, and who knows if he's recovered completely by A2. And like Bosch has been good; he's been consistent, and like that could be a one that you could look at making some money on as well, for sure.
Yeah, well said, mate. It's gonna be interesting. I wonder how some of those guys that are, preparing on the East Coast, I wonder how not being able to get to ride as much might affect them. Obviously, that snow and that cold weather's come through there. As a rider, you hear a lot of different blokes speak. Some don't mind having a couple of days off during the week, rest up. Some blokes just love getting in those motos, just feeling as dialed and as connected as possible. So that might interrupt a few people's, warm ups to the race. How would you feel personally as a racer, mate? What would you prefer, panning out the motos or having a couple of days off? Or it's just all trying to keep everything consistent and in the same sort of ballpark every week so you know what you're getting into, isn't it? So that might have a bit of a play too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's definitely like especially as a professional athlete. I mean, you always love like routine. Like you just want to be doing the same. Like you get in your rhythm. You're doing like the same like schedule every week. It's just like everything's like when you're in the midst of it, especially at the level these guys are at. Like everything is scheduled down to the second for some of these guys. Like everything is planned out. So like for some guys, like yeah, definitely throws a spanner in the works. Put it this way: if you're a guy like I mean, it doesn't even have to be names. Like if you're a guy that's absolutely dialed in, happy with the bike, like with the way it is, and stuff like that, then you go, oh, okay, well, we don't get to ride today. Like we'll get a session in on the cycle, like get the gym session in, and then like, I mean, we can't ride. But if you're a guy that's struggling at the moment and you're looking at getting testing and all that sort of stuff done, then you're in a panic because not only do you feel like you're already behind enough, but you feel like you're getting even further behind, and then a bit of panic sets in, and like especially when you're these guys, like, and you're starting to get in amongst the season, you're just. I mean, some guys are better than others. I mean, I know I would be peaking 24/7 just with anything that was going, especially if I was falling behind. I would just be like, far out. This is a code red here. Like we need to find something. I need to fly out to Cali and get in some dry weather or something like that. Yeah, because I mean, we faced that. We faced that a few times in California, where like it's a place where you don't normally get crazy amounts of rain, but sometimes it rains there a bit, and like California is a place that is just not built for wet weather. So like it gets flooded easy, tracks go underwater straight away. Takes like a week or two to dry out. Guys got to like most times you got to look at driving to Arizona 5 hours away to like go get your laps in. So yeah, definitely throws a spanner in the works. Snow's a completely different one that I've come across like just this week, especially in Florida of all places. Because Florida's a lot like Cairns, where I live at, where it's a place where you think, no real chance of snow hitting this joint. But yeah, it has. So yeah, it's crazy. So especially like, I mean, not only have they got to wait for the snow to thaw out, then they got to wait for the tracks to dry out as well. So like it could be like, yeah, depending on, I imagine with those private tracks, with the way they build theirs, we build ours the same way. It's like you build like the base up to get the tracks to like, so if it rains or anything, water just drains off it. So like it all just falls off. You don't have any standing water really anywhere, because then that's what takes the longest to dry it. If you got like just puddles and like just standing water everywhere, then it just takes forever to dry out. So yeah, that's a challenge that they're facing at the moment, and like especially now because a lot of the guys are based over in Florida. Like the whole star team is based out of Florida. So yeah, it's crazy. And then like a lot of other guys, like yeah, the sandbox, the dog pound, like just completely throws a wrench in your plans. Yeah, so yeah, it'll be interesting. be interested in the way they navigate it. But yeah, some guys won't mind taking a couple of days off. Other guys, I'm sure, are absolutely peaking. So yeah, it all depends, really.
Yeah, mate. And obviously, as we work our way down, you had some really good insight there for sure, mate. And like a lot of those, yeah, most of them really are based on that Florida area, aren't they? So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, obviously, we had Sexton going sixth in the end there, and Mookie seventh, Barsha eighth. Ferranda's good bounce back for ninth after he got cleaned out and didn't make the main at A1. Savachi, great effort, 10th. We obviously seen him in Australian Supercross and World Supercross, and you knew that top 10 was well and truly on the cards for him. He's been riding really well. Obviously, A1 didn't go to plan. He had a bit of an issue with Bloss. I think they both had a tangle there. But yeah,
Yeah.
Cooper 11, Prado 12, Anderson 13, and Hill 14. Obviously, Hill was popping that quad on press day. Super impressive rider, so much talent and skill. And then Vince 15th and Bloss 16th and Shane McElrath in 17th, mate. So it's a stacked field, isn't it? And Colt Nichols 18th. So it's pretty wide getting in the main events, isn't it? But yeah, any of those guys you like in the look of and you'd like to shout out to?
Yeah, well, yeah, like it's like the results like switched around not only at the front but like down the back too. I mean, we've seen Justin Hill put in a monster ride at A1 and then like coming away with an eighth position, and then didn't have the greatest result this week. Actually, what I seen, he put a post up. I don't think it was caught on camera. Is that he had a crash on about lap, I don't know, it was early on in the race, but then I'm not sure how he crashed and had this happen, but he said his airbox cover came off and his like the air filter itself come off and was hanging out of the, or like the subframe. Something got tweaked up to where the air filter was like hanging off. So I think he had to make one or two stops into the pits during the main event. So that's kind of what hindered his results. And then yeah, and like also a guy that bounced back a bit from the first round was Mookie, coming away with a seventh position.
Yeah.
Especially after that monster get off in the heat race at A1. I'm sure he was hurting this week. Like that was a nasty get off. Like just the impact of it. I'm sure he had the wind knocked out of him. He would have been banged up, bruised. But yeah, just like came back, had a solid showing in the heat race, and then yeah, put in a good, solid, consistent ride. Came away with seventh, and then yeah, Ferrandis as well, another good bounce back. Like especially like a DNQ at A1, got cleaned out in the LCQ, but yeah, he bounced back, got a top 10. So yeah, there's a bit of parity going on, and yeah, it's switching around a bit. Like it's switching around at the front, and then it's switching around in the mid pack as well. And I mean, it's a stacked field. When you go through the list of guys, like pretty much half of the field either has an AMA championship in there somewhere. Like it is wild the amount of talent that is in the 450 class at the moment. So yeah, these guys are just, yeah, the field is just on another level at the moment. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. And yeah, it's good to see a bit of parity going on.
Yeah, mate. Obviously, you look at the LCQ and obviously Prado, Bloss, Chisholm, Morans, Lane, Starling, Robin, Clayson, Carno, Welton, Harlan, Schlosser. They've been around for a long time. A-Rod, Freddie Noren, Mitchell Harrison. Like, they're really established, accomplished riders and they're not even making the main. So it's just outrageous, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, it's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, when you see even the list of guys in the LCQ, you go, man, these are good riders. These are absolutely solid riders here, and like they can't make them, and like they can't make the main. So like, yeah, it's crazy at the moment, and like especially because like they like a lot of the guys are healthy at the moment. Like I'm sure that's going to change throughout the season. I mean, that's just unfortunately, it's just the nature of the beast with this sport. Unfortunately, like there's a high attrition rate throughout the season. So like, yeah, there's going to be guys going down at some point, and then other guys are going to be stepping up, making the main, and then and yeah, so yeah, we'll see a lot of change throughout the season. Hopefully, we don't. Hopefully, we see. That's that's the main thing. What I like to see. I don't like seeing guys going down, which like we've seen a lot in the 250 class already.
Oh.
Just guys going down, getting hurt, which is unfortunate. So yeah, just hopefully the guys can stay healthy all season. That's the main thing.
Yeah, mate, it's so fascinating. Obviously, yeah, we talked about the Shimoda incident, just rotten luck. Juju's first win, just a really impressive ride. Jordan Smith's always there if he stays up and he's finding that consistency, looking good on the Triumph. And how's Cole Davies, mate? Continues to impress, had the heat race win,
Oh,
just looking like he belongs there already. Obviously, that decision to fast track, which obviously came from him and the team to not race Futures or SMX Next or whatever they're calling it.
mm.
He's clearly ready. So testament to them, to both of them, really, for putting in the effort and making it happen. And Deegan, another pretty good comeback ride. He got the fastest lap time in the main, but he keeps putting himself in those tough positions. So it's hard. So he's given up a few points, mate, but it's going to be pretty hard. Juju, Smith, Deegan, who knows, Shimoda might be able to stay in it until they get a little break after a couple of weeks. But it's shaping up nicely, isn't it, mate?
Oh man, it's awesome. Yeah, like the 250 class is just like it's awesome at the moment, especially with the field on the West Coast at the moment. It's so good. Yeah, and especially like with like we all thought Deegan was going to run away with this thing from round one. Like that was like there was the hype. There was obviously the hype there. I mean, it was yeah. It was definitely well warranted, especially after how he finished in the playoffs last year. I mean, we all thought he was just going to run away with this thing, but then like Juju has stepped it up big time. Got his first win on the weekend after battling for the win at A1, but then but yeah, let that one go. Comes back the weekend later and just puts it all together. Rides an absolutely flawless main, gets his first win, takes the points lead in the process, and yeah, like Smith as well. Smith has been like a third at A1, second at San Diego, like that, especially for a team that's like on a new manufacturer that has done very minimal Supercross. They're only their second year into doing AMA Supercross. And like for them to come in, especially with Smith, I mean, also what a resurgence. Because like Smith has always been the guy. I mean, we always remember him from the TLD year where he was leading the championship and he threw it away. And then I feel like he's been unfairly like criticized in that sort of um, in that aspect because he is a solid rider, dude. And then especially like over the years, I mean, we've seen it happen too. He had the lead of the championship last year, bended a few times, and then was out of the title chase. But now he's come in and he's like the first like A1 like tipped it over. We saw a little. He hasn't got rid of all of it yet. He's still got the ability to tip it over at an important time, but the way he fought back, usually you'd see him one mistake had turned into two had turned into three. Like that usually for him it would have been like in this field probably a fifth or a sixth place finish. But battled back to P3 and then the one on the weekend like just rode a nice consistent main, pressured Beaumare a few times for the win, but came away with a second. Like still in very good shape for the championship as well. But yeah, it's been a bit of a surprise the way Deegan has started the season out. I mean, like dominated the heat race at A1, and we thought, oh, here we go, he's off to the races. But then has a bit of adversity, goes down to the first corner, battles back to fifth, unreal ride, and then also at San Diego, like the heat race, didn't get the greatest start, but started coming through, but wasn't really catching up to Cole Davies and Mike Mosman, two of his teammates who he rides with during the week. Like, wasn't really pulling them in. And then almost had a catastrophic get off in the whoops where he was lucky he didn't have a head on with Cole Davies at the end of that section. So he dodged a bullet there. And then in the main, I mean, he made his way up into third. Thought he was going to make a bit more of a push towards the end to challenge for the win, but really just didn't have anything for him. Yeah, just kind of got into third, stayed there, wasn't really gaining on him, and then yeah, just stayed there. And I don't know if that was just like a conservative ride of his, just hey, we'll take third tonight and we'll move on. we'll put this one in the rear view mirror where we're looking good points wise, and we'll go back to Anaheim and rebound and try get a win there. But it also was the surprise of the season for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people. I mean, Cole Davies, what a ride! Gets the heat win, and then ends up. What did he end up? Oh, he ended up getting back to fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah, got DiFrancesco at the end there, and led half the main event and was riding solid. Had Juju on him the whole time, and I thought, oh well, this is good. We're gonna see how, because he's only young, 17 years old, hasn't done a whole lot of Supercross. I got to see him when he raced out here for the first time on Supercross and MX3 in 2022, and I was like, oh well, we'll see how he goes here, leading a AMA Supercross main, and was just no mistakes really. Made a couple of mistakes after he got past, went off track at one point, but the way he was racing and the way he was defending, it wasn't erratic to where he wasn't forcibly trying to keep Beaumare behind him. He was just covering his insides well, which is how a lot of guys should race. When guys start cutting corners off, you're just slowing yourself up as well as the guy behind you, and then you let the other guys in. The way he was defending was awesome. It almost looked like a seasoned vet. And after he got past, made a couple of mistakes. He went back to fourth, then to fifth pretty much straight away, but fought all the way to the end. Never gave up, got DiFrancesco back, came away with a fourth, and just showing tons of experience already. Just with the way with the way his speed is and the way his racecraft is. His racecraft was the biggest takeaway for me on the weekend, especially being out in front and being up there with these top guys. It was phenomenal to watch. So good on him. So yeah, I'm looking for big things out of him throughout the season. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, so impressive, mate. Another man that needs some praise is Cody Schock, obviously getting sixth, another great performance. Actually got the second fastest lap time behind Deegan, so even putting in a faster lap than Beaumare and all the others. So very impressive. Whoa. So if he can get the starts and get it dialed in, podium contender for sure. We know how fast he is. Just a really good rider, and he's had a few ups and downs in the career, mate. So he's found a really nice home at Club MX. So all the best to him, mate, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, especially with what I seen from him during the World Supercross rounds. He just looked like a completely different rider. Especially, and then he showed some glimpses last year. I mean, he won a heat race at one of the East Coast rounds, and he was putting in some solid rides. And then just a guy that's just progressively each year just gotten better and better. And then I didn't know that. I didn't know he had the second fastest time out of all the guys in the main event. So it just goes to show, if he can get a start and start with those front guys, I mean, he could be in the mix for a podium for sure. Because, he's got the speed to do it. And the way he rides, I like his style too. So, he's another guy to watch out for. I'm sure by the end of the West Coast season, he's going to have a podium or two maybe with the way he's going. Because, he's riding good.
Yeah, well said, mate. He's really quality rider, quality bloke. Good one to watch for sure. And obviously, Masterpool looks like he's broken fingers. He'll be out for a while. We had some really bad injuries in that class. Obviously, Avery Long's spill was absolutely massive. And obviously, shout out to Hawkins, who's broken the femur. That was another nasty spill. There was heaps of nasty ones on that track, mate. So it looks like for Pro Circuit, Marchbanks is also out. He's had a crash during the week. So obviously, we should expect to see Drew Adams. It'd be cool if they stepped up someone like Hunter Yoda, who's doing great things on a Kawasaki, different team, obviously. Do they bring back Phil Nicoletti? They'd be making a few calls, whether they have to fill it in contractually for the sponsors to have two bikes. Who knows what's going on? Obviously, they're no stranger to having a lot of injuries, Pro Circuit. But, not good for Masterpool and Marchbanks and all those other guys too, mate. It'd be interesting to see what the starting lineup entry list, who's on what team is come A2.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Geez, what a bummer for Pro Circuit. And it seems to be far out. It seems like the Pro Circuit semi has run over a black cat every second year. Because, man, just the injuries that these guys sustain over the years is like just crazy. And then, like, yeah, it was a bummer as well because like Masterpool was going to race east, came over to the West Coast, and like had said like he like because he hasn't really done a crazy amount of Supercross over the years, and was like just looking to get laps in, just gain some experience because the motocross championship for him was his main focus. That was the one he really wanted to put all his effort towards. But yeah, just unfortunately, and that was a gnarly get off too. Just the way he came down, landed. Oh man, it was just like it was an ugly one, and just absolutely mangled the bike. And yeah, busted some fingers. And then news came out today that apparently, Marchbanks has had a practice track crash, and we don't know the details of his injuries yet, but apparently he's going to be on the sidelines for a bit, which is also a bummer because Marchbanks is, he got let go by Pro Circuit a couple of years ago. Like after a season where he'd won the Daytona Supercross, and then, goes to club, has a couple of good years at club, ends up back at Pro Circuit for a second go around, like when he's riding at his best, wins a heat race too, looks absolutely flawless in a heat race, and then main event didn't go his way. But then just to have this happen as well, that's just got to be an absolute gut wrencher. Like, I mean, it's just never good when you see guys go down, and like some guys, especially in like Marchbanks' situation, having a second go around with Pro Circuit and then having this happen, like, yeah, it's just got to be a massive bummer for him. So yeah, I mean, hopefully it's not too bad, and I mean, hopefully we see him back maybe for the second West Coast stint. But yeah, and then unfortunately there was a few wrecks on the weekend. I mean, Avery Longs was just, oh god, that just looked awful, and then Talon Hawkins as well. Talon Hawkins' crash took me back to a flashback of a get-off I had a few years ago. Absolutely just launching the bike, looping the thing out, and then just having to absolutely get off and let Jesus take the wheel. And unfortunately, I came out a little better. I didn't come out of it with a broken femur. So, yeah, just a bummer for him. And, like, yeah, that's going to be a gnarly one to come back from as well. So yeah, it's just never good seeing guys go down. I just hate seeing it.
Oh, mate, it's carnage, and sport's hard enough as it is. Just want to see these guys healthy and racing, and that 250 West class is pretty decimated already. So I suppose it gives some of the other guys an opportunity to get up there as well, and we'll see how it all plays out, mate. I guess who are your picks for A2? Have you got Lawrence and Deegan, or have you got Tomac? Have you got Juju again? What are you thinking going into this round, mate?
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one. I am definitely not 100% certain on my picks this week, but I reckon I'm going to go out on a limb. I'll start with the 250s. I'll go top three. I reckon Juju goes back to back. I reckon he goes two wins on the hop, gets the confidence. Both races so far, he's put himself in a good position. A few guys are a bit hobbled at the moment, and then Deegan can't seem to get a start in the mains at the moment. I'm going to put Deegan second, and then I'm going to go Jordan Smith third this week. So not too crazy, but yeah, that'll be my picks. It'll be Beaumare, Deegan, Smith, and then 450. I think Jet gets the monkey off the back, even though we're only 3 rounds into the season so far. I'm going to say he gets the win. I mean, this is all weather dependent too. So, yeah, I'll go Jet 1, Tomac 2nd, Sexton 3.
All right. Well, you didn't do them last week, but if we go back to A1, you had Jet, Sexton, and Roxon for the 450s, and Deegan, Faulkner, Juju.
Yeah.
Faulkner pulled out.
Yeah. Faulkner, day after Faulkner goes East Coast. I don't know who I would have put in instead of him, because I was like, damn, that was one of my picks, and now he's on a different coast. But yeah, then. Yeah, what did I have in the 250? I think I went Deegan, Faulkner, Beaumare.
Blame Juju.
Yeah, blame him for that one. But at least I almost nailed the 450. Had Sexton and Roxon in there. At least I got 2 out of 3.
Yeah, mate, you're doing good. We'll have to keep an eye on them. But yeah, what's the final thoughts, mate? What's the weekend ahead looking like? You'll obviously have about 7 screens going by the sound of it, tuning into all the action, but should be a good one, that's for sure.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely at this point, 3 screens might be getting installed. So, because, yeah, I'm going to have Supercross. Oh, well, actually, on Sunday this week. I don't think, yeah, we haven't got a crazy amount on Sunday this week. Well, we got the long weekend this weekend, which I am just absolutely stoked with. Couldn't have come at a better time, even though we're only 2 weeks into the year. And I just already can't wait for a long weekend. Yeah. So, but it's honestly like the perfect weekend because, like, we got Anaheim, and then I'll be keeping tabs on what's going on in the arena cross over the weekend as well. And then we also, oh, well, I'll be watching the NFL on Monday. That one will be an early start for me, but at least I won't be struggling to get out of bed on Monday if it's for NFL football. If it was work, I would have to be skull dragged out of bed to get to work on Monday. But luckily, that's not the case this week. So it's just going to be a chill weekend. A lot of sport will be getting consumed, that's for sure. And a lot of bets will be being put down this weekend.
Oh, mate, we look forward to it. Hope you crush it. And yeah, thanks again for taking the time to join us. It's been another Ripper podcast. And obviously, thanks to the sponsors in Fly Racing, 24MX, Dirt Store, Fuchs Silverline, and Dragon Energy for all their incredible support, mate. Thanks again and all the best for the weekend. And we'll catch up again next week.
Sounds good, mate.
No worries, mate. Have a good one.